campers, how is it going? You're here with Team Andy and your boy, the Scholar's Box. Today we are going to make a candle holder, so when it's dark and you've got the urge to write to your friends, you can still do so. I've got my warbler, I've got my jar, I've got a little tea light, so we can test it out later. I've got my heat gun, I've got this candle, and I've got a metal sculpting tool. Now the ends are black because I use this to sculpt this only. But my plan is that I'm going to kind of try and mimic the look of a stained glass lantern type thingy. I've got some reference pictures on my phone over here. So this is how Warbler usually comes. This is the original Warbler Finest Art. It's basically like a wood pulp that's suspended in some kind of thermoplastic. So when it gets hot, the plastic melts and you can form it. It usually comes in rolls like this. However, I am going to be using mostly rough cuts. And you can get it on eBay and stuff like that. And you can also reform it into sheets, which is what I've done with this one. And all I did was I heated it up and I rolled it with the side of my tool to get that, to try and sort of smooth it into one thickness. But we're going to use these first. So I recommend that you use a heat-proof mat of some description. I almost forgot. You're also going to need some sturdy scissors to cut this lot with. So the reason I wanted to use Warbler for this was because the jar I'm using has some branding on it, which I could sand off and repolish it so that it's nice again, but just like this jar, I'm very lazy. So I don't want to. And you can't make me. I'm just going to sculpt this onto this face. Now, one of the best things about Warbler is that you can it sticks to itself, so you can layer it and you can mould it and you can roll it into itself and make shapes and sculpt it like a clay, even though it's plastic. So to get a shot of this sort of branding face, probably should have done this the other way around, but oh well, we're here now. I'm going to get one piece, I'm going to cut out that shape and I'm going to sculpt it down. Now I'm going to use my sculpting tool. So I'm just using the textured part of my tool here to mesh these edges in, right? And then I'll work the texture out in a minute. But for now, I just want them to look like one homogeneous piece. Now, because Warbler ever so slightly sticky, it's kind of got an adhesive quality, which is again how it binds together. But you might notice I'm licking my fingers to make sure it doesn't stick to me. You can use water, obviously. It just keeps your fingers cool enough that they don't really stick to it and get burnt. Right, so what I kind of want to do with this, I think, is I want to do a sort of crosshatch pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to widen these and square these holes out, make them a bit nicer edges, and I'm going to make like a faux, like, I don't know, a cool LED window sort of pattern on it. So the way that I'm actually going to do this next part is I'm going to heat up my tool, which is why I've got a metal tool, and why this tool had so many burn marks on it. But what I do is I heat up the metal, then I use the hot end to sculpt into the warbler. Now I know it probably goes without saying, but it is hot. Metal heats up, and that heat can spread a lot quicker than you might think. Okay, so we're here now. I've squared up the holes. I'm gonna put across little beams of warbler. So let's cut them out. So when you're playing with warbler, you tend to wind up with lots of bits. And that's okay. It's really not the end of the world, because as I said earlier, you can melt them back together. So that's exactly what we're going to do for a little bit. We can kind of squidge it into one unit. I'm going to heat it up again. Just keep going until I've got all these bits incorporated. It's better to keep it so that it's thin, just so that when you come to use it, you don't have to heat it up for as long. You don't run the risk of melting the outside before the inside, which is pretty much why it comes in sheet form and not like a block. We're done. That's as far as I'm going to take this one because I am tired and headachy. But that's another story for another time. Well, here we are. I hope you enjoyed watching that. I hope it's given you some inspiration. I'm all about that inspo life. Now you're the proud owner of this little tea light holder. I hope it serves you well, whoever wins my box. So get entering into that competition, because Matt's still winning.